The X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, and we're coming to you live from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the Talkstar Radio Network, X Zone Broadcast Network, UK High Definition Radio, Euro High Definition Radio, Star Cable, and Ustream. If you'd like to give us a call toll-free worldwide, 1-800-610-7035 is our toll-free number. My email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com, and our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. Some disturbing news from the Gulf. The tropical storm Alex, which they anticipate turning into a hurricane, is going to cause chaos. And then some new scientific studies say, you know what? The oil problem may not be solved until December. So the lead story in the X Chronicles newspaper that is going to be released later on tomorrow afternoon worldwide is an article I wrote called Black Gold. Now, Black Gold has turned to Black Death. That's the lead story, front page. Black Gold has turned to Black Death, and we're discussing the atrocities that are happening to the marine life and the wildlife within the Gulf region caused by this oil spill. And it's going to affect the people and the marine life worldwide. So we're going to be watching that very closely here on the X Zone. Next week we're going to have a number of people coming on just to talk specifically about the effects of the oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico and life, human life, marine life, and wildlife. Exonation, my first guest tonight is a gentleman all the way in Brazil. His name is Fabio Araujo. We're going to be talking about prophecies, and about 20 years ago, Fabio had a premonition. There was kind of a voice, strong though, actually commanding him to write about prophecies. Well, Fabio began to research prophecies, read books in many languages about it, saved money, and went to Europe to spend 3 months visiting libraries, checking books and manuscripts. Now, last week, one of his books about prophecies reached first position in Amazon.de, among other books about prophecies, even above worldwide authors such as James Redfield, the author of the Celestine Prophecy. He has a few books published in the U.S. Fabio is Brazilian and lives in Brazil. And the website that he'd like us to talk about today here in the X Zone is www.obamaandputin.com. That's www.obamaandputin.com. Now, I've got to take my first commercial break for tonight's show. When I come back in 2 minutes, all the way from the beautiful country of Brazil in South America, is my first guest, Fabio. 1-800-610-7035 is toll-free worldwide. My email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com. And our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. The X Chronicles newspaper for June 2010 is distributed worldwide tomorrow, June the 30th. And if you'd like to get a complimentary copy with the compliments of our advertisers, simply send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, and say, hey, Rob, can you send me the link to the newspaper? It's that simple. I'll be back on the other side of this 2-minute commercial break as the X Zone commences for today, Tuesday, June the 29th in the year 2010, from our studios in beautiful Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone, and don't go away.
Take a step back in time and discover old Florida cuisine at Marsh Landing Restaurant in Fellsmere. Enjoy delicacies such as frog legs, gator tail, catfish, and swamp cabbage, or enjoy the more traditional cuisine like hand-cut Angus steaks, ribs, and seafood. Join us for breakfast with a southern flair featuring sweet potato pancakes, biscuits and gravy, and much more. Planning a party? Marsh Landing's private dining room can accommodate groups from 8 to 80 people. While you're visiting, enjoy the historic pictures, artifacts, and stories that line the walls. Marsh Landing is truly a unique experience. Marsh Landing Restaurant, 44 North Broadway in historic Fellsmere, or visit marshlandingrestaurant.com. Marsh Landing, old Florida cuisine at its best. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X Zone broadcast network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
Are you interested in the paranormal, ghosts, UFOs, or psychic phenomenon? Join me, Tim Bartley, co-host of Talking to Spirits with Lightworkers Tim and Justina, coming mid-January 2017 to the XZBN. We will channel spirits live and talk to them, revealing all kinds of amazing information. Spiritual attachments will be found and removed on the show, and so much more. To find out when you can listen to Talking to Spirits with Lightworkers Tim and Justina, visit www.xzbn.net for listeners on both sides of the veil.
Exonation, welcome back everyone. Fabio Araujo is our special guest. He's the managing member of IAP, and he's also an author. And we're going to be talking to Fabio this hour about prophecies. And Fabio, welcome to the X Zone. Great having you. How are things in Brazil?
Great to be here with you.
Fabio, I was wondering if you could take us back 20 years ago and tell us about the experience that I briefly discussed about how you were told by this voice to write about prophecies and how that voice, that message changed your life.
Okay. Once about 20 years ago, I was in the library reading a book, and then suddenly a kind of film began to broadcast inside my mind without my control. And this film I was seeing people that I had never met, and also feelings and thoughts. And it was very weird. It never happened to me again in my life, just that day. And this film was continued for some time, but I couldn't understand what was that at that moment. So I just left the library and went away. A few months later, I knew a person, I knew a few people, and most of them American and French people. And while talking to one of them, I slowly remembered that film that had been broadcast inside my mind months before, and I could see that I was recognizing that person that I had never seen before. She was there in that strange film that something or someone put inside my mind. In a certain way, when things began to develop, I knew what would happen to the lives of those people. There were about 50 people, and I was very surprised. I couldn't imagine that kind of thing. So when everything finished, the whole story finished, I just, after I had lived that experience, that vision, that before it was just a thought, but after it became my life, it really impressed me. It really impressed me, and this is how I began to read and even learn languages and travel to try to understand what is that.
Where have you gone? What kind of studyings have you done? And what have you discovered over the last 20 years researching prophecies?
Well, to tell the 20 years is too much to tell, but I have been to countries in Europe, in European countries such as Portugal, Spain, Switzerland, France, Italy, Germany, England, and the United States, and searching for information that could maybe, I just thought that if this happened to me, maybe some other people had similar messages, received similar messages, and not all prophets, they are just crazy people who received, who are talking things that people don't believe. Maybe some of them have some real thing to tell. So I not only was interested in finding what had happened to me, finding out what was that, but to understand what could be the future, at least according to their view.
Now,
this was my.
That was your mission. That was your goal.
Yeah.
Now, I know historians usually consider all prophecies a fabrication, but you believe they're 100%. I'm sorry, they may be 5 or 10% accurate. What is the ratio that you give them accuracy with?
Yeah, this is true what you said. Historians, scholars, in a general way, they believe prophecies are fabrication. All prophecies, they have a reason. In the past, someone created that, maybe for political reason. A government created, or a religion created, something created a prophecy. But I think that there is a small number, maybe 5%, 10%, at least in this group of prophecies that I researched, that they're not fabrications. They come from real people who had something real happen in their lives, and they wrote or told someone, and it arrived to us today. And this happens in the whole world, in different religions, in the East, not only in Christianity, for example, but in different religions, in different continents.
Why do you think, here we are in the year 2010, people still, not everyone, but there are those who still believe in prophecies? Why do they need to believe in prophecies? What is it that keeps their faith in the prophecies and not in the other 90% of the reality?
No, I mean that the 90% is fabrication.
Yes.
It's fabrication. It's clearly fabrication. You can find, for example, oracles in Egypt and in Greece, and they fabricated prophecy to choose their leader, for example. You have fabrications even in internet. When we talk about Barack Obama, if you talk about Barack Obama, some people created prophecies about Barack Obama, and because they don't like Barack Obama. So a prophecy can be used as a kind of weapon against someone you don't like, or to choose someone you like. But there is a small part of them that this part is real and may reveal something to us about the future, about our lives, about our planet. And I think that shouldn't be despised. That's all I think.
The big prophecy these days, anywhere, is the end of the world, December the 21st, 2012. Based on your research of other prophecies, what do you think is going to happen on December the 21st, 2012, when the Mayan calendar ends?
Well, the Mayan priests, they believe that this is just a year of a change. They don't believe that the world is going to end, but they believe in a change, in a deep change. And I believe that the big change that the planet is going to go on through is the elections in the U.S. and in Russia, where Putin and Barack Obama will try re-election. So it seems certain that Putin will be re-elected.
Mm-hmm.
If I take the process in consideration, I would say that Barack Obama have chances. If I look today to what's happening in the United States, I would say no, he's out. But the process I think that there are authentic prophecies about Barack Obama, and then he will be re-elected. That's what I think. It's a kind of interpretation. I may be wrong. So I think the most important thing is the elections. And these elections, they may change the future, our future. Putin, for example, he's going to be in power for 12 years. The election in Russia will give him the right to be 6 years, and then try again more 6. So he's going to be there until 2024, sorry. So that's 25 years in power as prime minister and also president. So something could happen these years. That's what I think. That's what I think. 2012 is important, really.
What do you think about people in history like Nostradamus, who everybody is looking at today for signs of what is to come based on his quatrains? And did you do any research on Nostradamus, and what did you find?
Well, Nostradamus is very hard to talk about Nostradamus because each researcher, each writer, I was talking about that with Peter Missouri 2 days ago, and he's well-known, very well-known. He thinks that what Nostradamus wrote is about the past, not about the future. And another writer will have a different opinion about Nostradamus quatrain. So it's very hard to find, when we talk about Nostradamus, I think that's impossible to find a group of people that will agree on a certain kind of interpretation. And unfortunately, this is the most known prophecies that we have out of the Bible. People know Nostradamus, but they don't know many other important prophets. And Nostradamus wrote in a very ambiguous way, and it's very hard to understand what he wrote, really, what he wanted to say. I just think that the easy one concerning Nostradamus is about 1999. He has a prophecy about 1999, July. He says that a kind of king will appear. A king could be a political leader. Today we don't have kings, at least in many countries, but it could be a president. Will come from above. And the king of Angoumois will live again. The king of Angoumois was the king when Nostradamus was alive. And at that time, Europe was united. This European king tried to destroy Europe, the united Europe, in the 16th century. So he's predicting about a king who is also European and is going to fight against united Europe. He did that 400 years ago. And he said 1999, July. Putin became prime minister in August 1999, the 9th of August. And these days here, 9 days, could be removed if we go to Nostradamus' time, because at that time they had another calendar. They had the Julian calendar, today we have the Gregorian calendar, and they inserted 10 days in 1582 when Nostradamus was already dead. So if you remove these 10 days inserted, we go back to the 30th of July, 1999. So this is 1999, July. And then Nostradamus, it seems to me that he's talking about Putin, Vladimir Putin. And he also says that before and after March, he will rule. And then the last word in French, bonheur, some people think that's good luck. I think that is the right time, the the definite time, the last time. So the fact is that there were elections in Russia in 2000,
Right.
in March. Putin was already president because Yeltsin quit on the last day of 1999.
All right, listen, you and I have to take a commercial break with the news at the bottom of the hour. Please stand by. X-Zone Nation, Fabio Araujo is our special guest, www.obamaandputin.com. We'll be back after the news. Don't go away.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
And welcome back, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone on the Talkstar Radio Network, X-Zone Broadcast Network, UK High Definition Radio, Euro High Definition Radio, and Star Cable, as well as Ustream. 1-800-610-7035 is toll-free worldwide. Email xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com, and our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. Fabio Araujo is our special guest. We're talking about Prophecies, his website, www.obamaandputin.com. Tell me, we were talking about Nostradamus, we were talking about prophecies, and you said that not the prophecies that Nostradamus wrote about were probably already in the past. And how did you come to that conclusion?
Well, this is what another expert called Peter Lemesurier. He thinks that Nostradamus wrote about the past, not about the future. He believes that he didn't write any prophecy. So, for example, this event that took place in 1999, he thinks that it took place in the 16th century when Nostradamus was alive, and he did a kind of comparison to the position of the celestial beings in the sky and compared these years. So he did a kind of magic, let's say this way. But he was not talking about 1999. This is his opinion only. I think that he really predicted the future using a methodology that was very similar to the oracles of Delphi and branch in Greece, because they had these kind of quatrains and they were very ambiguous. But archaeologists did not find much information about this, but they know some things, and what they know is very similar to what Nostradamus describes in his two first quatrains about the methodology of work. But this is something that even the experts disagree. They tell different things.
So basically, from what I understand, the quatrains that Nostradamus wrote about, is it all a matter of how a person perceives the quatrain and how they can apply it into today's world events that makes it a prophecy or not?
Well, concerning Nostradamus, I think so, because he's very ambiguous. So his prophecies are not clear. This is why I don't like to work with his prophecies. I just use one of his prophecies, this one about 1999, but I try to avoid Nostradamus. It's very hard to understand.
Right.
I don't understand most of times. I don't understand what he's saying. So I don't want to create on that thing. So that's how I think.
What about the prophecies that are written about in the Bible? And the most prevalent one now that people are looking to is the appearance of the Antichrist.
Well, I believe that the Antichrist is something that, although it was predicted by Christians more than any other religion or group of people, I believe that this is real. And Vladimir Putin fits the position of the Antichrist because in the tradition during Middle Ages and also in ancient times, people expected and predicted someone who would come from a Jewish family and would arrive at power and would make a huge war against the West, the Western world. And Putin, looking in that database of Jewish names in internet, it's available free. I could find this is a Jewish name, and he received this name was created in, I think, 17th century in Russia, given to Jewish families. They didn't have surname at that time for tax purpose. And although the Russian press and government say that he come from a noble family of princes, this is not true. The truth is that he received a Jewish surname from the government about 200, 300 ago. So this thing is just one of the reasons why I think that he fits this position for Antichrist. The other one is the prophecy about Nostradamus and all those prophecies that say that during the crossing of the millennia, things like that, the evil being will come. So Putin is the only one who became president the last day of 1999, and so this would be just, if this is just a coincidence, I don't know, but there are many coincidences related to Putin.
What are some of the prophecies that fit in the 5 to 10% possible category that you've looked at over the years?
Sorry, could you please repeat the question?
All right. You said that there are, all prophecies, 5 to 10% of prophecies are true, 90% are false. So which are the prophecies that you, after the research you have done, believe are true?
Okay. Basically, this is what I think that is going to happen based on the prophecies. First of all, this crisis in Europe, there are prophecies about a crisis, an economic crisis in Europe. And maybe this is the one, maybe not. So the euro could get weaker and weaker, or could get stronger and then weaker again. So there are prophecies about a crisis in Europe that will lead to civil conflicts, maybe even small civil wars. And the events in Greece, a few weeks ago, there were a few civil conflicts. There were even, I think, that 1 or 2 dead people. This is the beginning of the things, according to the prophecies. Then, after conflicts in a few European countries, and the most predicted are Spain, Italy, France, there will be this huge war. Russia will be allied to the Muslim countries, and also there is an Eastern power, maybe, I don't know, maybe China, I don't know, against the Western countries. At the end of this war, there will be a huge natural catastrophe, which is connected to global warming we're feeling today. So the war will end, it will be ended by the catastrophe. People will stop fighting because they reach a point that we have to stop. And then after that, the new age will begin. A new age, the prophecies about the new age will come after these two catastrophes, the war and the natural one. And when the new age begins, it will be a new time. It will be a time of peace. People wish to make wars again. There will be a change in capitalism, and there will be big changes.
So do you think that the crisis that we're having presently in the economic forms around the world, the banking, the auto industry, the insurance, and then the oil disaster in the Gulf of Mexico, the uncertainty of the euro throughout Europe, the unrest in the Middle East, and the dissension within the United States and the United States government, do you think that these are all signs as depicted in the prophecy coming true?
Yes, I think so. There is a Hopi prophecy that tells about something like that. When the sea becomes black, it will be one of the signs that things are closed. And the other signs, there are many signs. For example, hundreds of years ago, there were books printed in Europe, and they said when the Jews when they come back to Israel,
yes,
it will be the end of time. The time is closed. So there are many indications that we're living the end of time.
But could it actually be that we're not living in the end of time? We are living in the end of the ways of the old ways, that we are going to start living in a new and more positive light?
Exactly. This is why I think they call this end of time. Because it's going to be a change, and we're going to change the way we live. And positively speaking, things will be much better than today. So I believe that someone who is going to live in the year 2050, 2060, will be living in a different world than today, but much better towards the feeling and other things.
1-800-610-7035, worldwide toll free. My name is Rob McConnell. Our guest this hour is Fabio Araujo, and I'll spell you his family name, Araujo. His website is www.obamaandputin.com. Where did your interest in President Obama come from? Was it throughout your studies of the prophecies?
Yes. First of all, there is a prophecy that is very curious about him, which is a Brazilian prophecy. So this was the first one that I found. This prophecy had a huge success here in Brazil. So people, it was basically a book, a novel, a fiction book that was written in the 1920s about a Brazilian writer. And the title of the book is The Black President. So it was reprinted here in Brazil in 2008 by a big publisher, and everybody was thinking, oh, this is a kind of prophecy that this writer, and this writer is well known in Brazil, Monteiro Lobato. He wrote that he saw a black man running against a white woman, same party, and then the black man would win, both Democrats, and then win against the white man from the other party. And this would be in the year 2228, 2228, which is very similar to 2008. At that time, according to the book, the population of the United States would be 314 million people. Today it's 310. The white population would be 200 million. Today it's 200 million. People would send their work from their homes. They wouldn't go to their job, the workplace to work. They would send from home. So this also happens in internet time. So this was the first one that I found. Then I began to research, and I found at least 3 authentic prophecies about Barack Obama, maybe 4 or 5, but these 3 are definitely authentic.
So it seems that there are those prophecies, as you said earlier, that are accurate. But what about the other 90%? What makes them so alluring? Why do people want to keep them alive if they're not true?
Yeah. Well, first of all, some of them are in libraries, in manuscripts. People forget them. But some of them, they are alive. Yeah, they are alive, and they. It's very hard to know if a prophecy is going to be fulfilled or not. Usually, we can just see that after it happens, after the event happens. So there are different reasons for. There are also, for example, fabrication of prophecies. Many people create prophecies for different reasons. So, yes, there are prophecies that many of them are really not real prophecies. They were created or they were not interpreted correctly by the prophet. It could happen also. So for different reasons, sometimes it's just a study. A religious man, for example, created in the Middle Ages, and then it arrives to us as a prophecy, but it's not really a prophecy. It's a study based on an older prophecy. For example, what the Nazis said, the Third Reich is going to take 1,000 years. This is based on a medieval prophecy in Germany. They have a prophecy there saying that, but it was based on Italian prophecy that said divided the time in 3 eras, in 3 times, and the third would take 1,000 years long. But basically, this is a Jewish prophecy. It comes from the Jewish belief. It has a Jewish origin. So because Christ was Jew, so sometimes you have weird things in this among prophecies. Curious things happen.
So, all in all, I guess prophecies are a matter of perception. The person who hears it, the person who wants to believe it. And as we've seen in the past, even though there have been prophecies of doomsday, as there are with December the 21st, 2012, there have been over 212 end times, and here we are, still all these years later. Stand by, Fabio. You and I have to take our final commercial break. We'll be back on the other side as we continue live from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the Talkstar Radio Network, X-Zone Broadcast Network, UK High Definition Radio, Euro High Definition Radio, and on Star Cable. We'll be back. Don't go away.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
19 Sergeant Central. 19 Sergeant, check. Officers on the scene.
Hi, I'm Larry Lawson, host of Paranormal Stakeout. With over 36 years in law enforcement, I have learned a few things. The most important is the proper gathering and preservation of evidence is vital to putting the bad guy behind bars. It's no different in the world of paranormal investigation. Whether it's the search for the afterlife, cryptozoology, UFOs, and extraterrestrials, how we gather the evidence, preserve that evidence, and present it to a jury of our peers will make the ultimate difference in proving the existence of worlds and entities that are beyond our imagination. Join me, Larry Lawson, every week on Paranormal Stakeout when, along with my guests, we'll take a journey to prove with indisputable evidence what man has struggled to believe for centuries. Go to xzbn.net for the broadcast schedule and check me out at paranormalstakeout.com.
True healing must address 4 levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, for us to live joyful and productive lives. We tend to treat 3 of the 4, leaving the spiritual languishing. If you're tired of the same dysfunctional patterns cropping up in your life, Soul Balancing is for you. Trixie Phelps, owner and founder of Soul Balancing, is a naturally gifted energy healer trained in numerous esoteric forms, including shamanism. Trixie has created a powerful modality that safely and effectively clears your energetic field. A soul balancing session can remove interference, heal trauma, and restore your hope. Contact Trixie for a life-changing long-distance session today. www.soulbalancing.world.
Fabio, what is the difference between a prophecy and a premonition then?
Basically, it's the scope. The prophecy is usually related to the life of the person who experiences it. It could be, for example, an accident, about the death of a person, a dear person, about a meeting, about something related to the person. It can also be a simple thing. For example, when we go to a city or town and you have that feeling, oh, I know this place. I don't know. I've never been here, but I know this place. So this is a kind of premonition. It happens to many people. And a prophecy is something bigger. The scope is bigger. It's usually related to hundreds or thousands of people, and not to the person who receives the message. It could be, for example, something related to politics, religion, economy, about a war, about a plane crash, about a shipwreck, something like that. You have, for example, also in prophecies, the difference that many people, as I already mentioned, fabricate prophecies. For example, during the Second World War, Germany and England, both countries, they fabricated prophecies attributed to Nostradamus to be used. They dropped these pamphlets from their airplanes so that they could control the mentality of these people who read the prophecy. So sometimes the prophecy can be used as a weapon against someone you don't like, or
so it's psychological. It's psychological warfare.
Yeah, it's a kind of logical warfare. Yeah.
All right, Fabio, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight here on the X Zone, all the way from Brazil, and I wish you continued success. X Zone Nation, that was Fabio Araujo, Araujo. His website is www.obamaandputin.com. That's www.obamaandputin.com. As I was saying earlier tonight, we're going to be doing a number of shows on the life of people, sea life, and wildlife that are going to be affected or are being affected immediately, presently, by the Gulf oil spill. And it's some of the research that we've done is really heartbreaking. We're even learning about dead zones now where nothing will live. However, there is a threat that the microchasms and the small microbiotic or biotic creatures are going to start multiplying at a faster rate than ever anticipated because of what is happening in the Gulf. It's going to totally upset the balance of nature. And we can only hope and pray that somebody's going to do something, and do something quick. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as the X Zone continues. We're right here live and around the world from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada.